Hey there, it's Nancy Norbeck, and I am back with another creative pep talk. And this week, I'm wondering, do you know the story of the Gordian knot? I didn't until a few days ago. I was listening to a podcast with Dr. Martin Shaw, who is a mythologist and storyteller, and who also leads wilderness rites of passage retreats that sound fascinating. And he told this story. He didn't tell it in great detail, but he referenced it about Alexander the Great arriving in a particular city and being shown this incredibly intricate knot, the Gordian knot. And he was told that anyone who could untangle this incredibly tangled, intricate knot would learn the true name of the god Dionysus, which meant that they would gain great wisdom. Alexander the Great, clearly centuries ahead of his time, immediately pulled out his sword and cut the knot in half, which untangled the knot. Now, there's grounds to say that Alexander was very clever and should be rewarded for thinking outside the box. It's a very 21st century way to look at it. But Dr. Shaw points out that part of gaining wisdom is having the patience to do hard work and to wait around while things percolate, while things come together, while you start to understand how this knot is made, why it's so tangled, what's required to undo it. So while Alexander may have solved the problem in an unconventional way that is often celebrated, and I should say that a quick Google has revealed to me that there were multiple tellings of this tale that yield different results and things like that. But I'm just going with this one because I find it the most fascinating. But the quickest way is not always the best. When I was in the MFA program at Goddard College, our motto was trust the process. None of us could have done the equivalent of slicing through that knot with a sword. None of us could have produced something overnight that would have earned us an MFA, that would have produced a publishable result, that would have taught us anything. We had to go through 2 years, sometimes more, of self-directed grad school and all of the difficulties and challenges that presents, all of the self-doubt, the being completely convinced that this project is doomed, all of the long nights of the soul in order to get the degree. Because you have to go through all of those things in order to produce work that is worthy of the degree. And part of that wisdom that you gain is knowing that just because today it looks like you've made a giant mess and your project is a disaster and why on earth did you ever start it? What were you thinking? Doesn't mean that tomorrow you might not figure something out that makes it way, way better than you thought it was. The whole creative process is ups and downs. It is ins and outs and spirals and loop-de-loops. It is anything but a straight line. And even if it were a straight line, it would be worthless if you could cut the line down into nothing, because then you wouldn't have to do anything and you wouldn't gain anything by it. So I want to just encourage you today to think about where you tend to rush the process, where you tend to cut corners, look for shortcuts. Try to imagine how you could get out of the hard work by slicing that knot open with a sword. And maybe embrace those parts instead for the wisdom and understanding and growth that they will bring you if you persevere. Think about it. See where you might be able to apply it in your own life and process. And I will talk to you next time.